Hey, what's up everybody? I'm the Pond Professor here. We are back at Tanner Serpa's.
So I want to try to make as cool, unique features in a small package.
So they would make an incredible statement. Beautiful view of this entire area. All right, we're looking at the space where the pond water feature will go. Pond's gonna be tucked in between these two decks over here. Talking about starting the waterfall kind of up in this area. This is where I was taking the picture from the inside coming out. So we have a beautiful view of this entire area. We are going to come in off of this slope here, connect into the existing downspout, reroute that directly into the pond. And then what we'll do is we'll take the excess water from the pond from an overflow. We'll take it around this way where it'll go down grade. So we're on the edge of this hillside here. So everything drops away pretty hard over in that direction. Tanner's also talking about redoing some of the decks over in this area specifically, bringing this further out. And our pond is gonna start, like we have a rough mark right over in here. So the deck is gonna cantilever out just a little bit to give it a little bit of that mystery as well as that dock-like feeling. The wetland filter is gonna be located kind of halfway up this slope right here. A very, very, very faint white line right in this area. But the idea is to kind of carve this whole section out to kind of swale it a little bit, get our wetland filter up in that location to create that little bit of a spring head type of a look. And then we'll have that water coming down the hillside, cascading over a series of large flat terraces back down into the main pond. So what we want to do is go look at some of the rocks, see how we can transform the space. So right now, it's just all turf grass. All right, Tanner, Tim, and I are over here at the stone yard, and we are looking at some rocks. And Tanner's coming up with some really cool ideas here for the upcoming pond. So what are some of your thoughts after seeing some of these rocks?
Sure, yeah, so I have to redo all of the decking there. It's old and kind of dilapidated, and we're looking at some of these stones here, and I thought to myself, why don't we have these be part of the deck, if not most of the deck, instead of actually me building something? And I think it would just make a really cool seamless look, because we're not making something super huge here. So I want to try to make as cool, unique features in a small package.
Awesome. I love it. I think that would be incredible. And some of these rocks are massive, yeah. So they would make an incredible statement, and it's gonna make like your house was built on bedrock, basically. Yeah. I mean, you know, it's exactly the look. Hey, what's up everybody? I'm the Pond Professor here. I am back in Pittsburgh, Pennsylvania area. We are back at Tanner Serpa's, but what we are doing right now is we're getting ready for the stone delivery, and we have to dig a massive excavation out so we could put in our rubber membrane and we can start placing some of that beautiful stonework. So what we have happening here, we have Tim Wood is operating our team. We have Chris Hansen, Team Aquascape. We have Trevor from our tech team, and we just started excavation. And what we have is a mini recreational style pond. The pond is going to be 28 feet in length, approximately 18 feet wide, and we're going to have a wetland filtration system tucked right back up here in this hillside. We're going to have a series of cascading waterfalls transitioning down, everything visible from the home. We were here picking out the rock. This was our main focus. We wanted to make sure that it was highly visible from inside the home. This little section is the master bedroom. So we have a little bit of a view over in this section, but the majority of the pond is actually stretching off over this direction where it's going to be visible from inside the house. And if you can tell, Tanner has been very busy and it removed the entire old deck. And he said thankfully he did, because some of the substructure was a little bit sketchy. So he wanted to make sure that he had a brand new deck going in, and he is going to be using composite material. So what we want to try to do while I'm here this week, get the excavation done, get the rubber membrane in place, start setting some of those big boulders, and we also want to dig into the hillside and start getting everything ready for the wetland filtration system. So our goal is to get the infrastructure in place. All right, Tanner, are you excited about that?
I am.
Me as well. This has been, like you said, it's been a long time coming.
You know what's weird is that I want to say it was exactly 5 years ago almost that we did the original one.
It might be. Yeah, it looks like, sounds like we hit something on the first scoop. Well, excavation is moving along. Little bit of a challenge. Chris just tried to get the skid steer up here, and we had just enough rain this morning where this is just really, really slick. You can kind of see he kind of broke through that turf, and it just turned, it's that hard compacted wet clay underneath. We are currently in the house, and it is because it is a mini monsoon out there, pouring rain as usual. excavation is just about complete. Chris, right now, they just dug the pump vault in the corner of the intake bay, but we're also putting in a skimmer, so that's what Chris is digging. So we're digging in a standard skimmer as well. It's going to help a little bit with water quality. It's also going to help just with Tanner with debris removal, so it's going to be a dual pump system. One pump inside the vault, the other one inside of a skimmer, so it is a nice hybridized type of a setup. It's very, very efficient. I would like to get the wetland slightly higher than this to create like another little bench area, so we have a series of steps coming down. Tim is in the skid steer over on this side, and he's going to take some of this soil just to kind of blend into this little depression right over here. The other things that we're looking at, right where Trevor is currently digging, you can see there's a drain tile that kind of goes all the way along, almost like a curtain drain, to pick up water that's going to be coming down from the hillside, keep it away from getting inside the home, foundation, basement, etc. So what we're going to do is we're going to tie the overflow for the pond directly into the existing drainage system. So what that will do is it'll allow us to take the excess water away very quickly and efficiently. Getting ready to install the large rubber membrane that's going to go inside, which is going to hold the water all in place, and then we're going to cover everything up with our heavy duty geotextile. So you can see we have the initial geotextile down here on the bottom. This is really important. So Chris went through, he kind of tack welded the fabric together to lock everything in place. So as we're pulling the rubber liner in place, it doesn't shift all those different pieces. But what we're also doing is we're trying to increase the load bearing capacity of the soil. And then we're going to start with this wall system right over here. We're going to put our crushed stone down on the very bottom. Then we're going to start building that block wall structure, which is going to allow us to get those big rocks cantilevering out to create a really seamless transition between the water feature, the rock, the landscaping, the decking, the walkway. So everything is just going to kind of flow from the home all the way into the water, which is exactly the goal that we're looking for. Our block wall is in place, turned out great. I'm very happy with the color, texture, everything on that. It's filling up that entire wall. It's giving us that nice vertical lead, so we're saving a lot of space as well as rock work. Now what we're going to do is we're going to take this big rock, 3,500 pounds or so, maybe 4,000 pounds. It's going to go on this far edge over here on the opposite side. So what we're trying to do is a little triangulation over here. This is going to be highly visible, so I wanted something big. A lot of the other stuff down here on the bottom is going to be smaller stone, because we don't need to take up and utilize too much of the volume of the pond, and you're not going to see much of it other than this one. So this one is going to be highly visible because of the deck, the viewing areas from inside the house. You're going to be looking across at this back wall. So I want to get a big giant one on the bottom, and then above it we're going to come with another really big rock, which is going to flank the waterfall, which is going to be coming in on this right hand side. One of the reasons I love working with the rubber membranes, especially when we oversize them properly, it gives us flexibility to come in and make adjustments in our excavation. You can see what we did. We marked out way over there, going back about another 3 feet to give us a lot more room to utilize some of these bigger boulders. We have plenty of the membrane to make that happen, so all we have to do, pull everything inside. Everything down here is structural already, so it's all solid. Now we could just kind of carve into that edge, reestablish all the fabric going throughout that entire area, bring the membrane back in place, and then it gives us more flexibility to set some of those bigger boulders along the front end, which is going to tie into the deck and walkways and things like that. So it's going to be a really unique little detail. All right, it has been a busy afternoon. As you can see, we got a ton of stuff done. Start up here at the top, pump vault is in place, skimmer's in place. This is basically the entire pre-filter for everything. So we have our aqua blocks down below. This is going to be an intake bay, kind of a hybrid one. So we're gonna have water kind of coming into this little pooling area. Some of the water will go through the skimmer system and through the basket, but we also have this massive pooling area, and I think our water quality is usually typically much better when we combine those two strategies. The other thing that we have over here is this Versalock block wall. That's going to give us that nice vertical edge. It's going to allow us to do some of these big cantilevered rocks coming out over everything. We also anchored that wall with a couple big pieces of sandstone, so that's going to give us a little bit of structural rigidity, but it also blends everything into the rest of the stonework that we're going to be doing. I'm loving the look of this big giant rock over here on this backside, and that's because we needed something that really was going to anchor everything, because we're coming in with a massive rock just behind it. So we don't want to have a giant massive rock sitting on top of a bunch of little stuff. So that big rock is really going to help kind of tie everything together. And then we're going to transition over this way into our waterfall section. Back over here, smaller, little shallow water section, maybe for some different other type aquatic vegetation, water lilies and things like that, which are always very, very nice, especially around the decks and things like that. So all the floating foliage is going to kind of overhang this deep area. It's going to provide a nice little refuge for all the different types of amphibians and fish and that type of stuff that are going to be found in these little shallow water sections. So we just prepared everything for the largest rock so far that we've set. It's definitely pushing the limit on this machine. When we come back out, we will have a slightly larger excavator, so it would be able to handle the weight of that rock. So we decided to go ahead and try to set it during this go around, just because it was going to take a little bit more time cutting and moving all this stuff. We figured out the maximum height that we wanted this rock at, according to the patio that's going to go in on the other side. Once we had that maximum height, we subtracted down to determine the level at the top of that block. We then set the block, we backfill with gravel. That's going to give us the structural component that we're looking for, so it should be able to seat itself down into all that stuff. And these blocks in the front are going to keep that gravel from kind of migrating. So now we just have to try to figure out the best position to get that rock into place. All right, Tanner, this has been a whirlwind of the past couple days. Looks like a bomb went off in your backyard.
It does.
We tore everything apart.
Yeah, you did.
We kind of messed.
No one can see it.
Shredded up the grass over in the front. We have piles of boulders all over the place. We have machines staged. We have completely demolished all the grass over here in the back. Yeah. Changed elevations. Dug out a massive hole. I know you have the vision for it. Yeah. It's all going to come together. We've worked together before on some projects. This is part of it. Unfortunately, because of the way this event is happening, we're leaving for a week and then coming back. So hopefully we don't get a massive rainstorm that comes through and makes a mess of everything. Great progress. I mean, what do you think so far as you're starting to see some of these pieces? I know we picked out the rocks.
Right, yeah, I forgot half of the ones we picked out when they come rolling out of the truck. Oh yeah, I forgot about that one, or they look different than I remember. This huge one over here that he thought we could move, I told him we couldn't, and we kind of came somewhere in between because we were able to move it here but not get it into the hole. I remembered it being about 8 feet long. I don't know what you remembered. Yeah, it's 11. So huge. It's massive.
But we made great progress, so I'm really happy with the way the block wall turned out. We have that entire deep section done, so our goal for this project was to get the infrastructure in. So get some of that stuff done. So I think we're at a really good point. This has been a blast working with Tanner as well as the rest of the team. If you like this video with Tanner, definitely check out this past video.